You can do this calculation and decide if you're even gonna go see the property, if you're even gonna email the realtor, if you're even gonna send this out to your investors, etc. So this is a good way for us to weed out properties.
My name is Piche, aka the Fruitful Investor. I grew up in a middle-class family and all I've ever wanted was freedom. By the age of 30, I became a self-made multi-millionaire, all from real estate investing. Follow me on my journey to travel the world when I want, where I want, while continuing to build a killer real estate business. Let's get it.
What's up, Fruitful Investors? In this video, we'll be talking about the 5 real estate investing terms that you need to know if you want to become a savvy investor. Because if you want to grow your business, you got to talk to other investors and you got to sound smart. You got to know what you're talking about, but also you need to know what you're talking about so you're not making mistakes and losing money. Some of these terms you might already know. They might be easy, but I might trick you on a couple because I got some advanced ones. I got some easy ones. All good. Number one of them you need to know is ROI, return on investment. What's important about this is everything. You need to know how much money you're gonna make, what your return's gonna be, to see if you want to invest in a deal, to see if you can attract that partner, convince that partner to partner with you. You gotta know how to do this. So very basic rundown on how this calculation works. Let's say we hold the property, we had a rental property for 3 years, we sold it, all good. On it, we netted $80,000 of profit, right? We're gonna divide that by the investment we put in. So let's say we put in $100,000 on this property, right? We bought a $500,000 property, we put in 20% down, etc. So we put in $100,000 on this property, we made 80, so 80 divided by 100,000 times 100, which will give us our percentage of an 80% return on investment in total, right? So let me put this here. So we got profit, just in case you guys wanna write this down. We got investment, should make it a little easier to understand. Profit divided by investment times 100 gets you 80%. So let's say we had this property for 3 years though. So we're gonna take the 80K, right, the 80,000. We're gonna divide that by 3 years. We've had it for 3 years. That's gonna give us a percentage, I think it is 26.66% per year. So that's why you wanna break it down. So you really wanna find out what's your return on investment, your ROI gonna be per year. So for me, like a typical decent buy and hold is like 15%. You gotta make it at least 15%, I'm thinking. But 20, 25, 30, that's kind of what I'm doing realistically on every single one of my deals. So this, for me, as a just theoretical example, this would be totally cool with me. So that's how these work. So very simple calculation, but you gotta know how to nail this one down because this is everything. Because when you go to investing meetings, people are gonna be like, oh, what's the ROI on that deal? And if you're saying ROI, what the hell is ROI? You're gonna look like an idiot. And also, like I said, you wanna know how to do these so that you know what you're doing as well. The second most important one, I guess they're all very important, not most. We got NOI. Am I confusing you yet? Net operating income. So this is used, the NOI is used mostly on multifamily buildings, 6 or more units, commercial real estate. That's what this is classified as. You're gonna see this a lot more there. If we're doing residential, single family homes, duplexes, triplexes, we're not really gonna dip into this too much. We're just gonna stick with the straight cash flow. I might have gave one away that's coming up. So we're gonna deal with that one more. On the 6 and up, we're dealing strictly with this. The banks are gonna talk to you about NOI. Everything's about NOI. Your realtor, your mortgage broker, everybody cares about this when it comes to commercial real estate, 6 or more units. So you really gotta know what you're talking about here, especially if you're gonna invest in multifamily properties. So let's say we have a building, right? And we get $6,000 a month. We're gonna times that by 12 because with the NOI, we're dealing with yearly numbers. Totally different. With single family, we're dealing with monthly numbers pretty much. What's the cash flow gonna be per month? What are my expenses gonna be per month? On the multifamily side, it is per year. This is business, a totally different sandbox than the residential. So if we take 6K times 12 months, that's a gross income of $72,000 a year. Another term you gotta know there, but I've only got so much time, man. So your gross income, that's the total income before we take expenses away, is $72K a year. Let's say we have all the expenses. We got the property taxes, we got the utilities, the property manager, the snow and lawn maintenance, the garbage, etc. Let's say, for the sake of making this video a little quick, let's say all of our expenses are $16,800. Kind of typical for the building kind of ratio I'm talking about here. So we got 16K. So we take the gross income, all the rents, all the laundry, coin money we're doing. I'm kind of making this easy. We're not going to include that, but on multifamily buildings, that can be real income. We're going to include all of the yearly income that we're getting, the gross income right here, 72,000. We're going to subtract the expenses. Now this does not include mortgage payments. This is only the expenses. Every expense except the mortgage payments. Why do we not include the mortgage payments as expenses in this NOI multifamily situation? Kind of dumb, isn't it? Well, here's the reason why. Because mortgages can change from person to person to person. This person might get a better rate, more amortization. This person might get a 3% rate. This guy might get a 4.5% interest rate depending on his financial situation. So the mortgage payments change person to person to person. So we don't know what the next buyer is gonna have to be dealing with. But what we do know is that the garbage, the taxes, the snow and lawn, the property manager, they're all gonna be the same no matter what. No matter who buys this property, these are gonna be the exact same. So that's why we only use these. Okay, going back. Gross income, subtract the expenses, not including mortgage payments, leaves us of an NOI, a net operating income of 55,000, what we got here? 200. Okay, so when we're dealing with multifamily, this is what we care about. I'll show you why in a second, but this is everything. We need to know the NOI before we even do anything. What's up guys, sorry for interrupting. This is my man Tyler. He's actually my personal social media manager. He edits all my videos, does all my Instagram, all my Facebook, everything. And we just started a business together called Fruitful Marketing, where we're gonna help specifically real estate investors, mortgage brokers, and realtors build their branding so they can attract clients and money partners without even trying, just like I do. So what are we gonna do for them?
So we're going to take all your videos, we're going to edit them for you, we're going to schedule them, and we're pretty much just going to make your brand look like Matt's. So like you said, you can just pull in money partners, create a brand, you know, all that good stuff.
That's what it's all about, guys. Autopilot business and leveling up your brand so you're the only solution. I've done it for 10 years. We're going to help you do the exact same thing. No pressure, but click the link below, check it out, see if it's for you, and let's get back to the video. Okay, so we got NOI down. Moving on to another very, very important one. It's my last page here, guys. I need another stack. All right, the next term you have to know, cap rate. Again, we're dealing with this when it comes to multifamily. We're not really dealing with cap rates in single families, duplexes, triplexes. It's just not gonna work. We only really deal with these with commercial, 6 or more, or actual commercial stores or industrial stuff, etc. Real business stuff. So the reason why we care about cap rate and NOI is because this can dictate the value of the property. For example, if we buy a building, maybe that last building we just bought, we paid $1.2 million, right? Kind of a typical 6-8 plex in my local area. Pretty expensive, right? Maybe. So reason why we care about the cap rate, so if we go back, you know, that net operating income was 55,000, was it 200? Got my notes here, yes. So the net operating income on that theoretical building, right, I'll put this here, NOI, was 52,000. Now, how we figure out the cap rate is if we take the net NOI, we divide it by the price we paid for the building, in this case, the 1.2 million, it's gonna spit out a percentage, a cap rate of 4.6%. Okay, so this is kind of like a return on investment, but used for multifamily or commercial purposes, the NOI and the cap rate. So cap rate is really the ROI in a sense, and also the valuation system we use on these multifamily buildings. So for example, in my area, a 4.6 would be a pretty decent deal. So you might be watching this and be like, man, I'm investing down in Louisiana and like we're getting a minimum of 9% cap rates. Good for you. In my area, this is a smoking deal. That's why I'm using this theoretical numbers here. Okay, so that's a cap rate. And this is how mortgage brokers, appraisers, realtors, and investors value buildings. So we always want the NOI. We divide it by the asking price of the seller who's asking their price. It'll spit out a cap rate. If you're looking for a minimum 5% cap rate, let's say, you would do the calculations very quick. This building is done. Next. If you're looking for a 3% cap rate, which is like downtown Toronto, downtown New York, right? Very low cap rates, high quality buildings. You're gonna do the calculation, spit this out, you're like, cool, I like this, 4.6. Now let's keep doing more due diligence. Now I'll actually go to the building. So we're doing all this math here. I just showed you Like once you nail this down within 30 seconds, you can do this calculation and decide if you're even gonna go see the property, if you're even gonna email the realtor, if you're even gonna send this out to your investors, etc. So this is a good way for us to weed out properties. But let's say we don't know how much we should pay or what the value of the building is. So we can reverse engineer this right here. So let's say we got the same $55,000, $200 NOI, right? We're gonna write NOI. And we only want deals at 5.5 cap rate or more. So this is what I do as a realtor for my clients, right? I don't wanna pay 3% cap rate, let's say, and get them screwed on a deal. If my client says, Matt, I need at least a 5.5 cap rate, that's all I'll pay on these properties. This is how we can reverse engineer what we can pay. This seller's asking 1.2. We know he's out of his mind. The area only dictates a 5.5 cap rate, okay? So let's say we take his net operating income, right? We divide that by the 5 cap rate, 5.5, so divide 0.055. That's gonna equal a valuation or an offer of 1,000,003. Guys, I'm going real slow. All right, 1,003,636. Okay, so we tell Mr. Seller, I know you're asking 1.2, but I did the calculations based on the cap rates that I know of in this area. And this area should only be a 5.5 cap rate. You're asking too much, Mr. Seller. This is my offer, right? So there's two ways to come to a cap rate. We can divide the NOI by the purchase price they're asking. That gives us the cap rate as is. If we want to buy it at our cap rate, we do the NOI divided by our wanted cap rate, gives us the offer price that we can then offer to Mr. Seller, right? So that's basically how it works. So this is why knowing how cap rates work are very, very important, because if you're dealing with multifamily, this is all you're dealing with. This right here is everything, so you need to know it. This might be a little complicated, sometimes even tricks me a little bit, but I've only got 3 minutes or so to explain this with you, because I know you're busy and want to get on to the next video, okay? So, in a nutshell, and if you want to learn how this works in greater detail, check out my video. Maybe I'll get my guy to put it up here. My multifamily real estate investing video for beginners, 1 and 2. I go into this for like half an hour in every scenario. What happens if you add a dishwasher to the property and you increase the rent $50 a month per unit? You'd be surprised how much money that makes you. So if you really want to know how this works, how multifamily works, head over to those videos and spend an hour going on a class course of that, because there's a ton of stuff there. All right, the other term you got to use, is cash flow. I gave it away at the beginning, but super important. Obviously, we want to know how much money we're going to make. So how this works is much easier than these guys. So we're going to take the income minus all expenses, and very easily that gives us the cash flow. How much money we're going to make at the end of the month or the end of the year with this building. I take all the income, I subtract all the expenses, mortgage included, all of the expenses equals cash flow. So if you're new to investing, you might be like, oh Matt, you just said don't use the mortgage, now you're saying use the mortgage. It can get a little crazy, I know, but you need to know these. You need to be an expert and know what you're talking about. So if you do this for a while, play around, you'll start getting to know it. It'll be like second nature, and you'll start knowing what you're talking about. The fifth and last term, there are so many more, but I've only got time for 5. Equity. Very important for real estate investing. How much equity is in a property? If I have a house here, right, it's my beautiful little house, right? If I bought it at $200,000 and I've had it for 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'll hold it in year 5, now it's worth $400,000, right? How much equity do I have in the property? Right? 200K. Now I'm not even including mortgage pay down and cash flow, but I'm getting to that. Super easy example. I bought it for 200, it's now worth 400, I've made $200,000. I have $200,000 in this house of equity. If you're a home seller or a real estate investor, you probably have equity in your own home. You know what that kind of means. But again, very, very important, because when you're dealing with banks, refinancing, the BRRRR strategy, oh, I didn't even talk about that. I've only got room for 5. That's all equity. Everything's about equity. How much your net worth is, how much are you worth as a real estate investor, how much equity do you have in all your properties, that's your net worth. So very, very important terms to know. I kind of went through them a little quick, but I want to throw stuff at you so you can dig deeper and dive in on your own and find out how these work, etc. Like I said, if you're into the multifamily buildings, go check out my multifamily real estate investing for beginner videos. Huge clinical class on how that works. If you like this video, if you learned anything, I bet you did, smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy these videos on my channel, you definitely want to hit that subscribe button so we can see more of each other. I'll see you in the next video.